What should have been a night of joy, elegance, and pure celebration turned into the most jaw-dropping confrontation the Atlanta celebrity scene has seen in years. And at the center of it all, rap legend Remy Ma and Olympic boxing powerhouse Claressa Shields. Two women from completely different universes, hip-hop and pro sports, colliding in a moment that left the entire room paralyzed in silence. But trust us, this wasn't just a misunderstanding. This was personal. This was deep. This was explosive. Let's take you inside that luxurious, invite-only wedding night, the one where whispers turned into daggers and icy stares burned hotter than candles on the table. The wedding was held at a stunning high-end venue in Atlanta. Chandeliers sparkled from the ceiling, velvet drapes framed the room, and a live band played soft jazz while waiters in white gloves passed champagne. It was A-list only, hip-hop royalty, influencers, elite athletes, the kind of guest list that makes headlines by itself. Remy Ma arrived early, making a quiet but powerful entrance. She was glowing in a floor-length gown that screamed old Hollywood mixed with pure Bronx street glam. She clung to Papooses' arms, snapped a few pictures, kissed the bride and groom, and instantly became one of the night's biggest draws. All eyes were on her, but when Claressa Shields walked in, everything shifted. Wearing a crisp designer pantsuit that radiated dominance, Claressa wasn't there to show off. She was there to support the bride, a longtime friend from back in Michigan. But oh baby, the moment she stepped through those doors, the whole vibe changed, and not in a good way. People close to the scene say Remy Ma locked eyes on Claressa immediately. She froze. Her expression dropped just for a second, but it was enough. Papoose leaned in, Remy whispered something under her breath, and the tension began to spread like wildfire. Whispers filled the room. Do they have beef? Is something going on? Why is Remy looking at her like that? Claressa and Remy avoided each other during cocktail hour, sticking to opposite ends of the ballroom. But things really kicked off during dinner. Now here's where the real mess starts. Dinner was served at a stunning grand table. Crystal glasses, gold-scented cutlery, handwritten name cards. But the wedding planner made one very crucial mistake. Remy Ma was placed at one end of the table and Claressa directly across from her, a silent standoff in the making. Claressa sat down, lifted her eyes, and boom, locked eyes with Remy. What followed was not a casual glance. It was an unflinching, icy stare down. Remy raised an eyebrow. Claressa offered a slow, tight-lipped smile. Not warm, not genuine, more like, you really want to do this here? And then Claressa's glass tipped. Water spilled all over the table. A few guests laughed nervously. But Claressa? She looked mortified. Remy Ma stood up, some say to help, others say with a different intention. Witnesses swear her body language screamed attitude. She leaned over, offered a napkin, and dropped a line that changed the mood entirely. Remy Ma, you know this isn't how you handle things in a room full of people. Claressa Shields, I'm not here to impress anyone, Remy. I'm here to enjoy the night. Short, sharp, ice cold. Even though the situation didn't explode at the table, you could feel the heat building. Two alpha females orbiting the same space, both refusing to back down. But the biggest blow hadn't even come yet. As the bride began her speech, thanking her guests and speaking on loyalty, friendship, and love, the tension thickened. Everyone clapped politely. Everyone except Remy and Claressa, whose mutual disdain was now too loud to ignore. And then Claressa did it. She stood up, raised her glass, and hit the entire room with a toast that was less love, more shade. Claressa Shields, I'm glad to be here tonight, despite the fact that some people think they can just walk around acting like their success is the only thing that matters. This is a celebration of love, not a competition. Boom! The crowd went silent. Everyone knew who she meant. And Remy, she didn't flinch until she did. Remy Ma, oh, I didn't realize we were talking about competitions. You know, Claressa, some of us don't need to remind people of who we are. We let our actions speak for themselves. That was it. The spark that set the whole room ablaze. You could practically hear the inner gasps. Guests turned, phones tilted, and just when it seemed like a full-on war was about to break out, someone near the bride jumped in and begged people to head to the dance floor. Crisis averted? Not even close, because behind all of this wasn't just a misunderstanding or ego. No, there was history between these women. Deep, boiling history. Let's go back. This wasn't the first time Remy Ma and Claressa Shields had crossed paths. Years earlier, they met at a high-profile event celebrating women in sports and entertainment. Both were VIPs, but insiders say even then there was a strange energy. Remy was cool, controlled, and a little reserved. Claressa was bold, talkative, commanding attention like she owned the room. Some said Remy was rubbed the wrong way by how Claressa took up space. Others said Claressa thought Remy acted cold. But the real friction? It sparked when a mutual friend casually said something like, y'all are so similar, strong, fearless, fearless, iconic. That comment, it hit a nerve. From that day forward, there were whispers, cold shoulders, subtle jabs. Remy once gave an interview praising female athletes, but added, "Some women spend too much time proving things to the world instead of just doing the work." No names, but fans immediately clocked it as a shot at Claressa. And Claressa, she clapped back in her own way, saying, "Some rappers think they're untouchable, but being loud don't make you invincible." It was shade, pure passive-aggressive, cold-blooded shade. So by the time this wedding came around, the tension had marinated. This wasn't two strangers bumping heads. This was a slow burn feud ready to erupt. Now, here's where it gets even juicier. Earlier that very day, hours before the reception, sources say Remy and Claressa had a private conversation at a small pre-wedding brunch. It was supposed to be civil, just two accomplished women chatting about life, career, and pressure. But Claressa reportedly said something that lit the fuse. Claressa allegedly, "You're lucky to even keep your spot in the rap game with everything you've been through." Out. Now, she may have meant it as a compliment, like you've been through a lot and still here. But Remy? She didn't take it that way, not even close, because let's not forget, Remy Ma rebuilt her entire career after a prison sentence. She clawed her way back with grit, pain, and hustle. To her, Claressa's words weren't admiration, they were condescension. She didn't explode. She didn't scream, but her silence, that was louder than any outburst. And then Claressa pushed it further, saying, "I'm just saying what people are already thinking." That's when Remy delivered a line that's now going down in gossip history. "Remy Ma, you have no idea what it's like to lose everything and fight back. Don't ever talk about my career like you know it." Boom. People nearby felt the shift. The room turned ice cold. From that moment on, they were like loaded grenades waiting to go off. So when Claressa made that competition toast, Remy was already done playing nice. What happened next? Stick around. Part 2 dives into the moment the rivalry hit its boiling point, the jaw-dropping revelation from a third party, and why this wedding night might have changed both their careers forever. The dance floor might have been lit, the drinks might have been flowing, but everyone knew the real show wasn't the bride and groom. It was Remy Ma and Claressa Shields, and let me tell you, things were about to explode. After the frosty dinner toast, Claressa tried to brush things off. She mingled, laughed with guests, kept that confident aura, but behind the smile, you could see it. Her pride had been hit. Her competitive fire, the same one that made her a champion in the ring, was blazing. Meanwhile, Remy wasn't trying to perform. She stood near the DJ booth watching. She knew Claressa wasn't done, and she wasn't about to back down. Not after the jab about competition, not after being called lucky to be in the game. Because here's the truth, Remy Ma doesn't do lucky. She earns it. And then it happened. The final straw. Claressa, surrounded by a few industry folks and influencers, made a slick comment, not loud, but loud enough. Claressa, allegedly, "Some women don't know how to take a joke. They act like they've never been called out before." Whoo, you could feel the air shift again. Remy walked over. Slow, calm, but every step felt like thunder. Her presence sucked the noise out of the room. She looked Claressa dead in the eyes and said, "Remy Ma, I don't need anyone joking about my struggles. You wouldn't last a day in my shoes. You wouldn't even know how to survive it." That line, it hit like a punch. Everyone froze. Conversations stopped. Even the DJ fumbled a beat. You could literally feel the silence. Claressa, always one to fire back, wasn't going to be humbled that easily. She leaned in with a fake laugh and said, "Claressa Shields, maybe if you spent less time fighting with the law, you could have focused more on your career." And just like that, the room cracked. It wasn't just drama anymore. It was war. Remy's eyes narrowed, her body stiffened, but instead of screaming, she went colder than ice. "Remy Ma, you think you're tough? You wouldn't last 5 minutes in my world. You don't know struggle. You know spotlight." Claressa blinked. For the first time that night, she was caught off guard. Not because of the words, but because of the truth behind them. That moment, it was a full-blown standoff. Two queens, no crown to share, just pain, ego, and years of silent resentment now laid bare in front of Atlanta's elite. And then, like every Hollywood drama, you get the twist. Because out of nowhere, someone stepped in. A mutual acquaintance, close to both women. And this person, they dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. Witness. "You're both being played. You've been lied to, manipulated, used by people who want you to fight each other. This isn't your war. It's theirs." The gasp that went around that room, unreal. Remy and Claressa, silent. That revelation didn't just shift the energy, it destroyed the entire foundation of the feud. Because according to this insider, there were people behind the scenes, publicists, industry execs, even mutual friends, who had intentionally stirred the pot between them, feeding misinformation, twisting words, using both of them as pawns to build their own power plays. It wasn't jealousy, it wasn't ego, it was manipulation. They'd both been played, and suddenly all those interviews, the subtle jabs, the awkward meetings, they weren't organic, they were orchestrated. Clarissa's face turned pale. Remy's expression hardened. You could see the pain in both of them, the realization that they'd let other people get between them, that this public feud had been engineered. But here's the part that makes it even more wild. According to the same insider, the tension had been purposely leaked to gossip blogs weeks before the wedding. Someone close to them both was planting stories, hoping for this exact moment, to make them explode publicly. So, what did they do? Well, nothing, not right away. Both women left the party in separate black SUVs without another word. No goodbye, no Instagram story, just silence, but you know that silence was loud. And let's be real, this wasn't just a celebrity feud anymore. This was emotional warfare. And fans, they still trying to pick sides. Some say Remy Ma was standing her ground. She's been through hell and rebuilt herself from ashes. Prison didn't stop her. Betrayal didn't break her. She's still standing, unapologetic and strong. Others say Claressa was only speaking her truth. She's climbed to the top in a sport that hates seeing powerful women. She's been mocked, underestimated, and told she's too much, but she never stopped fighting, literally. But here's what's undeniable. This whole mess is a warning shot to every woman in the spotlight. When you're powerful, they will try to divide you. Remy Ma and Claressa Shields aren't just two celebs caught in a beef. They're a symbol of how the industry weaponizes strong women against each other, turns ambition into rivalry, turns confidence into competition. And while there's no confirmation yet of whether Remy has actually taken legal action, there's strong talk that she's reached out to her team, not to sue Claressa, but to start investigating who's been feeding the drama behind closed doors. Because if this entire feud was planted, someone's about to be exposed. And guess what? This isn't over. Not by a long shot. Because now that the truth is starting to unravel, both Remy and Claressa might finally see the real enemy wasn't each other. It was the machine pulling the strings. So what happens next? Will they reconcile? Will they go public with what really happened? Or will they stay silent while the whispers continue? Whatever the case, this wedding night didn't just change two women's lives. It exposed a dangerous game in the entertainment world. And if you thought the drama ended with a toast, oh, honey, we're just getting started. We're just getting started.